So, many months ago in a chat group, someone sent me this image, and my immediate response was, yeah, that was not just a meme in the thumbnail. I was genuinely disappointed and wanted to make a video about it, possibly expressing my disappointment even more, but I didn't really think that would make such a good video, and my stress and some existential dread caught me off guard. Then this happened. Yes, I stopped making videos altogether for some time, and now that I had much more time, I can make this video with more information and add more value, possibly. By the way, thank you for all of you who watched my video. I think the what could have been but never was video popped off really, possibly because of the resurgence of Prince of Persia news, the same game that I'm gonna talk about, but let's go. But before that, thank you to everyone who engaged with it. So after I decided to start making videos again, I just decided to see what new stuff are about this unreleased game, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Well, not much except of all the reviews, Jordan Mechner being supportive of it, first Prince of Persia title in 13 years, and the disappointment of fans of how Ubisoft handled the IP of Prince of Persia, and the gameplay reveals of this game. And I checked out 2 videos for this, one which is the trailer for the gameplay and actual footage of the gameplay, and it was kind of surprising. The comment section of the trailer was just about how Ubisoft destroyed the IP. Who is this guy who looks African? What's the rap music in the background? And the other video is just a bunch of people being excited for a game. And it looks good actually. That was kind of odd. So I figured this is a good starting point. And let's discuss why the hell it's so bad on the trailer and why people are really disappointed with this. My name is Farek and I'm a game developer. And if you have watched my videos about Assassin's Creed, you know how I do not like the direction they're going in. Corporate nature of Ubisoft is bleeding into Assassin's Creed. It's driving the game onto a cliff. It will sell well every time they release something, but it's just bad. And their latest attempt at going back to the roots, no. I think that game at best will be disappointing and at worst infuriating. And I'm not passing a review, I'm not just gonna play it. But I beg to differ about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, is that the studio behind it has some pretty good record of delivering some good top quality games. Rayman series and Beyond Good and Evil, and among some other titles, I think they released a very good puzzle game. And looking at their games released after 2015, they're all just releasing some mobile projects, except this VR project that I never heard of. And this is their first major title in years, with Beyond Good and Evil 2 being the next major project after this. This probably means Ubisoft is loosening its grip on some of the IPs. Why? I have no clue. And while I was editing this video, I saw this blog post from Jordan Mechner. It seems that Ubisoft was trying to do something with Prince of Persia. And is this a cash grab? Quite possibly. If you look at it from the point of view of Ubisoft, yes, it is. Definitely. But the game is in good hands. However, we don't have the real game in our hands yet, but I am more on the positive side. But the points of disconnect remains, and we're gonna go through them one by one. Who is this guy? Sargon is his name. He's one of the legendary immortals. A legendary handful of group of elites in this game, while in reality it was a military unit of 10,000 men. But with a name like Immortals, we throw historical accuracy out the window and let imagination take its course. But what about the prince in this game? He has been kidnapped by some devas in this world. And all of this that I just talked about leaves a sour taste, because the prince that we knew isn't anything like this. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge the fact that this isn't the same world that we saw in the trilogy. I'm talking about the trilogy right now. Pay attention. The mythology is different. In the trilogy, the history is very loosely based on Persian mythology. The devas only existed in some Nintendo DS game. I think I covered it in the previous video. The city of Azad doesn't exist like at all. The time things, I think it's based on one of the Persian gods mentioning time in their powers and stuff like that. The point is, this game is different. It's a different world with different rules, different mythology, different history, and different characters. This is nor a reboot or a prequel or a sequel, just a spin-off using the Prince of Persia brand. And to answer this question of who is this guy, we're going back to that. Well, he is not Prince. the prince, the peasant born. He is not the prince and is the prince at the same time. Jordan Mechner dropped a very comprehensive style sheet of what a Prince of Persia hero should look like. It's actually really comprehensive. It's everything. They even included the movies. And is that a Lego Prince of Persia? Really? So that we see the design is actually based on the prince that we know. And given my fairest opinion, I think they did a pretty good job with that. So the design is based on prince. The gameplay elements show an acrobatic fighter with time powers. So that checks out. The only thing is himself and his story. I really don't know about the story. I read somewhere that some writer or designers talking about Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time, that the premise is kind of limited. Basically, Prince wanting to do better as a prince and hopefully become a king one day. I kind of disagree with that statement, but I think the reason is that they don't want to mess with the trilogy. Even if people don't know about this stuff, they will know that this is not the prince. And when they play and subconsciously ask what happened to the prince, the game has an explanation, being kidnapped and all. Instead of dropping an Easter egg in the form of naming a donkey Farah, like 2008 version.
Farah's not my girlfriend, she's my donkey.
Or writing new mythology and slapping it into the old trilogy like the Forgotten Sands. That was really fun, wasn't it? Given the old examples of how they have handled it, I'm actually happy that they're trying something new in form of a spin-off. And side note, I don't want to get into the guy being black. I don't have a problem with it. The historical accuracy is not for me to find out. My opinion is, if the writers are good, spend some real time on this, they can write some really good backstory about how he got into the Immortals. Or they're just checking a checkbox. With that out of the way, rap in the trailers. I mean, what do you expect? Rockstar recently released a trailer for GTA 6, and Rockstar is one of the few game companies that the trailer and gameplay graphics are almost exactly the same. And I'm not saying the exact same thing happened here, it's just they chose a different route of this marketing beat for their trailers. It's upbeat, it's modern. The point is, look how cool and flashy it is, while the game itself is like this. I was genuinely surprised. This is real traditional Persian music using traditional Persian instruments. I hope. Or they're using some real good plugins in their workflow. But the music is actually good and is fitting for a game like Prince of Persia. There was some controversy about Prince of Persia Warrior Within choosing rock and metal in their style. Even with rock and metal, you can sound Middle Eastern if you're using the correct scales. But this is actually going the distance in my opinion. And from the gameplay footage, the architecture seen in the trailer is taking inspiration from ancient Persia as well. So that checks out as well. My whole script for this video would love very much more Persian mythology in this game. And I think they have done it as well, but I'm not sure. That's pretty much my hopes for the story and the mythology, but it remains to be seen. So on to the next point, the game being a 2D side-scroller. Well, if you guys know, originally Prince of Persia was a 2D side-scroller, and given they're making a 2D Metroidvania, I'd say that's a really good fit. And hey, you're making a fool of yourself. Yeah, just get out of here. I'm just gonna take it from here. Well, yes, that's technically correct. Jordan Mechner made the very first Prince of Persia years before 3D games were commonplace, and that's good and all, but Prince of Persia didn't become popular because of that. Yeah, it had some good receptions, made some pretty good numbers, but what really made the IP pop off was the Sands of Time trilogy, and nothing else. The numbers are very clear, and it's like day and night. And ignoring this and going, well, originally this was this and that means you're totally disconnected from the community and what they want. And I completely agree with this statement. And the most shining examples of this was Diablo Immortal. presented to an audience of really dedicated PC gamers that were really hungry for more Diablo in that year. There were even rumors of Diablo 4 going around, and the bombshell being a mobile ARPG dropped, with these moments blessing the internet for a few days.
Our plan is to be on mobile, both Android and iOS. We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
I was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Point being, they completely ignored their core base of their fans and went ahead and made this. In hindsight, they weren't ignoring them. They were just taking their fucking time with Diablo 4. It began development in 2014, and that's 9 years of development till release. Even after release, they had some serious issues in the game that they had to work on. Do you see where I'm going with this? The real thing that people wanted was the Prince of Persia remake. And as you all know, it was delayed multiple times after facing the backlash from the initial trailer, and they announced that the release date is no longer being targeted, and that felt like a really bad cancellation announcement. And now we just have this. The Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. And I agree, this is really bad, but given the situation and being really fair, I think the Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown on the Diablo Immortal scale falls on 4 Diablo out of Immortals. In my humble opinion, at least. There's no denying it. The genre difference is really a point that I can't say anything about. Except maybe just try it. Maybe you'll like it. It's sure as hell not a downgrade from 3D. I don't think they're worth comparing. Sure, 3D allows for developers to do more things, but 2D isn't always a bad thing. And when I was a child, I came to respect this. And Ubisoft is being Ubisoft, shoving microtransactions onto everything. Like this pre-order bonus. Possibly when we get the full game, there will be some microtransactions as well, but it's not as bad as Diablo Immortal. Every player power barrier in that game is a cash grab. And I'm not saying this pre-order is good, it's just for comparison's sake. And the best point is that this is not a mobile game. Diablo Immortal was designed as a mobile game with all the microtransactions flooding it. At least this is not. Even Diablo Immortal was released on PC, but the predatory design is still there. For this one, it's not like that. That's why I gave it a very average score out of Diablo Immortals. And for the last part of the video, I have the hindsight for you. They didn't stop the development of the remake. 2 weeks ago, for the 20th anniversary of Sands of Time, Prince of Persia account tweeted this. As you know, Ubisoft Montreal, who developed the original Sands of Time, was tasked with the remake. I think at first they were tasked with polishing the initial game that the other studio was developing, but after some back and forth between the developers and the executives, I think they just said, fuck it, we're gonna go from the scratch, and they restarted the whole thing. And I have no idea what they're talking about when they say internal milestone. Maybe it's an MVP or they got the green light from higher ups in Ubisoft. I have no idea how these large companies work. What I will say is that they're taking their sweet ass time, and I hope they deliver when the time is right. Also, going back to the Lost Crown, this means that they actually planned for Lost Crown to be released after the remake. Fans probably wouldn't be pissed about it as much. And it also means Ubisoft is actually looking at their old IPs and finally doing something with it. Something more than just remakes and some one-time prequels or sequels, instead of pumping Assassin's Creed products all over the place. But the stage is set. The Lost Crown will have a hard time on its own. Either it's going to be good and it'll be able to win over the fans, or it's going to turn out like the 2008 version. But I think it will be much more enjoyable given the studio behind it. The fans didn't like it. It won't be the same like 2000. I really didn't like that. But some people really liked that version. So my bet is that it's going to be better than that. And that's it for this video. Thank you again for watching this video and the other video that I did many months ago. That was actually one of the big breaks that I had with this YouTube channel. I started really recently. Even with the break, this channel, I think is technically considered a very newborn. So thank you very much for that. If you like this video and you like to see more videos like this, please subscribe. I won't go away like this, hopefully. And if you agree with me, drop it in the comments. And if you disagree with me completely, and if you hate this project, drop that in the comments as well. With that out of the way, yeah, just end the video. I recorded this 3 times.